Maggie was slipping through my back door, crowbar in hand, muttering instructions to her sidekick like she ran the show. She figured I was out of town, gone for the weekend, but what she didn't realize was that I was parked just a block away, watching it all unfold on a live camera feed. Inside my house, 3 of my old buddies from the force were already in position, waiting. I used to be a sheriff, and I knew she was coming the moment she stepped onto my property. The trap was set, cameras rolling, mics picking up every word. She crept down my hallway, heading straight for my office to plant fake EVY Denke. Then came the command, hands where we can see them. Maggie froze. Her partner dropped his bag, and before they could bolt, officers emerged from every corner. She thought this was just a house. She didn't know it was a sting. She broke in assuming she held all the cards, but we were already there. This time, Maggie wasn't calling the shots. She was about to be cuffed for breaking them. But let's rewind. Let's go back to how it all kicked off before the arrests, before the hidden cameras, before Maggie ever stepped foot in my home. On the surface, Willow Creek was picture perfect, the kind of place you'd see in a real estate ad. Smooth roads, neat hedges, pastel homes with crisp white shutters, and neighbors who waved without meaning it. I'd been a detective long enough to spot when something was too polished. 2 years ago, I bought the house at the end of Maple Drive. It was quiet, tucked away, with woods out back that reminded me of fishing trips with my dad. I wasn't ready to call myself retired from law enforcement. My instincts, my reflexes, my habit of scanning every room I entered were still sharp, but I needed a breather. I'd seen too much. Cartel busts, betrayals, colleagues dying in my arms. Willow Creek was supposed to be my peace. What I didn't expect was the HOA president, Maggie Hensley. She showed up the day I moved in, all smiles, clipboard in hand, radiating fake charm like a rusty heater pumping out warmth. She introduced herself like royalty greeting a peasant, listing off rules about lawn maintenance, parking etiquette, and get this, curtain colors facing the street. I nodded, gave a polite smile, and kept my distance. Big mistake. A week later, a typed warning was taped to my garage. Trash bins must be retrieved within 30 minutes of pickup. Mine had been out for 45. Next came a citation for non-compliant landscaping. I trimmed my bushes in a way she said ruined the neighborhood's uniformity. Then it was excessive barking from my German Shepherd, Titan, even though he barely made a sound unless someone got too close. It hit me. Maggie wasn't just enforcing rules. She was gunning for me. And I wasn't her first target. Neighbors dropped hints in hushed tones, too scared to go public, terrified of fines, letters, or revenge. Maggie ruled the HOA like her personal fiefdom. Kiss her ring, and you were fine. Cross her, and you paid. She had allies on the board, connections in the city records office, and a list of VYO ladders she flaunted like a trophy. But she picked the wrong guy this time. See, I wasn't your average homeowner. I'd spent 15 years undercover in a big city's organized crime unit, specializing in surveillance, interrogation, and ironically break-ins. I knew how power-hungry people operated, pushing limits, testing reactions, ramping up pressure until someone broke. I didn't break. I documented. The moment I saw her pattern, I turned my house into a fortress. Motion sensors hid in decorative fixtures around every window and door. 2 trail cams in VY Cybele at night watched my front entrance and driveway. Inside, a rotating camera system fed footage to a secure drive and a backup server. Titan was trained for protection, not barking, with a silent alert only I could trigger. I didn't want to use any of it. I hoped she'd back off. Then came the letter hand-delivered, bold red text screaming notice of emergency inspection. Maggie claimed suspicious active YTI reports justified her and a security assistant entering my home for community safety. I stared at that paper for 10 minutes. She was planning a break-in. Legal or not, she didn't care. She thought she was untouchable. No one had stopped her yet. But I was done waiting. I called my old partner, Detective Lisa Carter, still on the force, still razor-sharp, and still in my debt after I took a bullet mint for her during a drug raid 7 years back. She didn't flinch. You want a sting? No, I said. I want you inside, quiet and legal, waiting. She paused. Done. Within 48 hours, we had a plan. I sent the fake inspection letter to the local PD with a report of attempted illegal entry. Lisa pulled strings and got a warrant for monitoring, citing targeted harassment and HOA overreach, a rare but legit move. I left for the weekend, packed my car, and drove off at noon. Inside, the trap was ready. 3 officers hidden in my study and garage, cameras live, mics hot, Titan with Lisa in the bedroom, every sensor armed, every exit covered. Maggie had no clue she was walking into her downfall. March 26th, 3:04 p.m. I'll never forget the timestamp. I was parked 2 blocks away in my old black SUV, a surveillance van that blended into the scenery, watching every angle on my laptop. The cameras were rolling, the mics were live, and Lisa was posted in my leave-wying room, sipping cold gas station coffee, waiting. Maggie didn't use the front door to public. This was her secret mission, her power grab. At 3:11, the side alley cam, tucked in a fake utility box, caught her, oversized sunglasses, white gloves, smug grin, creeping along my house like a low-budget thief. Behind her was Tom Grayson, HOA board member, ex-security guard, and loyal lackey, lugging a gym bag and a pry bar. "We're clear," Maggie hissed, glancing back. "He left this morning. Won't be back till Monday." She was so sure. She didn't know my car was a decoy, that I hadn't gone anywhere, that Lisa, armed and authorized, was watching her every move. At 3:14, they hit the back door. Maggie tested the handle locked. She flicked her wrist, and Tom jammed the pry bar into the frame. With a sharp crack, it gave. They stepped inside at 3:16. My pulse spiked. This was a line between HOA nonsense and outright crime, blurring on camera, under surveillance, and in front of the law. Inside, Lisa stayed still just past the kitchen archway, listening. "Quick, snap photos of the office," Maggie ordered, striding down my hall like she owned it. "That's where he's got all those monitors and weird tech. We'll say he's spying on neighbors, justify an emergency vote." Tom unzipped the bag. Latex gloves, a camera, and folders. Were they planting Eve Wydenke? Lisa's voice buzzed in my earpiece. "They're in. Suspects have breached. Audio and video confirmed. Standing by. Execute," I said coolly. At 3:18, Officer Hayes stepped from the coat closet by the stairs. "Badge out. Step away from the hall. Hands up. Now." Maggie's head snapped toward him, frozen, blinking in disbelief. Tom dropped the bag, hands shooting up. "What is this? Who are you?" Maggie barked, masking panic with bravado. "This is an official HOA inspection." Lisa emerged from the kitchen, badge gleaming. "I'm Detective Carter, Metro PD. You're trespassing on private property, caught on live surveillance, and suspected of falsifying Eve Wydenke. You're done." Maggie's eyes darted, searching for an exit. She tried to push past Lisa and ran smack into Officer Ruiz, coming up from the basement. "No escape. This is a setup," she shrieked. "You can't do this. I have rights. I'm the HOA." Lisa unfolded a document. Signed complaint, protective order, and an investigation into HOA misconduct. "No, Maggie, you were the HOA. Now you're a suspect." She went quiet, really quiet, no bluster, just the twitch of someone who'd overplayed her hand. The cuffs snapped on at 3:22. Tom didn't fight. He looked ashamed. Maggie looked like she'd been betrayed not by the law, but by her own arrogance. They were marched out the front door into a crowd of neighbors, phones up, recording. One lady clapped. I pulled into the driveway, slow and deliberate, stepping out so she'd see me. Our eyes met. Her face twisted shock, rage. I didn't say a word. I didn't have to. She'd walked into my house thinking she had power. It was never hers. It was mine. Word spread fast in Willow Creek, especially when the HOA president gets hauled off in cuffs. By nightfall, the footage was everywhere: Facebook, group chats, local news apps. Headlines popped up: HOA president arrested for trespassing, caught in the act, Maggie's reign ends in handcuffs. The best part? Not one resident defended her. By morning, the HOA called an emergency meeting, a rare Sunday session at the Willow Clubhouse. Usually, a handful showed up. That day, the room was packed, extra chairs lining the walls, tension thick as fog. I walked in at 9 a.m. Every head turned, some nodded, some stared, shocked I'd even show. I didn't flinch. I sat front and center, set a folder on the table, and waited. The remaining board, Mark Teller, Ellen Hayes, and Tara Lynn, looked sleepless, pale, rattled. No clipboards, no confidence, just dread. "Let's, call this to order," Mark stammered. "As you know, there was an incident with our former president, Maggie Hensley, former." I cut in, loud and clear. He gulped. Yes, effective immediately, Maggie's been removed pending investigation. The board condemns her actions and had no knowledge of her intent to enter Mr. Dalton's property. I didn't buy it. I'd like to submit Eve Wydenke, I said, lifting the folder. Audio transcripts from the break-in and footage of her accomplice with what looks like Eve Wydenke planting materials. Gasps rippled through the room. Mark froze. Ellen stared at the table. Tara, the treasurer, whispered, "How long has this been going on? How many other homes?" The dam broke. A guy in the back stood. "She fined me due lot 800 for patio furniture that came with my house." A woman added, "Maggie made me get her approval to repaint my fence, then charged me double through her brother." Another, "She accused my kid of vandalism and tried to ban him from the clubhouse." The room exploded. For years, they lived under Maggie's thumb, scared of fines, retaliation, or public shaming in the HOA newsletter she loved to wield. With her gone, fear turned to fury. Tara stood, unpinned her HOA badge, and set it down. "I'm out." I knew something was wrong, but I stayed quiet. "No more." Ellen followed, then two more. I didn't gloat. I leaned in. "If you want to fix this legally, fairly, I know how. I'm not scared of HOA games." Because this wasn't just about Maggie. It was about a system that let her thrive. And I wasn't done. 2 days later, a text hit my private number when I hadn't shared. Blocked sender, meet me behind the tennis courts tonight. Alone. 5 years ago, I'd have called it a trap. Now, it felt like a confession. I got there at 9:42 p.m. The courts were dark, cicadas humming. A slim figure in khakis and a hoodie stepped out. Tara Lynn, ex-treasurer, lighting a cigarette with shaky hands. "I kept records," she said, eyes down. Maggie hid the financials, but I copied everything. She handed me an envelope, spreadsheets, check scans, emails from HOAQueen4ever@gmail.com. It was a goldmine. Maggie wasn't just a control freak. She was a crook. Fines for fake violations funneled into HOA consulting funds that led to KW Property Solutions LL Share maiden name shell company. Tens of thousands pocketed. I dug in all night. It got uglier. Due law $122,400 for a non-existent landscaping project. Due law $8,900 in security fees to her cousin's firm. Due law $21,700 from a fundraiser no one recalled, all buried in vague line items, signed off by a scared or lazy board. "She threatened me," Tara murmured. "Said she'd lean my house if I talked. I'm a single mom. I couldn't risk it." I nodded. "You did right coming forward." Next morning, I sent it all to Lisa. She called back in 45 minutes. "You just turned this into a fraud case way beyond trespassing." "Good," I said. A week later, the news screamed. Former HOA president faces embezzlement probe. Maggie's mugshot grinned back, the story detailing years of intimidation, fake fines, and rigged votes, all under the guise of standards. Neighbors rallied. Old board members quit. A petition floated to dissolve the HOA. Others pushed for reform audits, term limits. They asked me to run for president. I said no. I didn't want power. I wanted justice. And the deeper we dug, the more we found Maggie wasn't alone. If Maggie was the face, the shadow board was the muscle insiders who greenlit her schemes, exempted from fines, their accounts padded. They stayed off newsletters, out of meetings, but their names were on everything, backdated minutes, rushed budgets. With Tara's help, I named them. James Carver, Maggie's advisor, pushing overpriced vendors. Linda Morse, uncertified accountant with no spending trail. Greg Holt, security head, authorizing illegal entries. James got a due lot $20,000 Reno from safety funds. Linda's driveway was repaved free. Greg's rental got owner perks. No one asked until now. Lisa dug into Maggie's phone. 50 phone calls with James pre-break-in. "They thought you were onto them," she said. "The break-in was to strike first. They didn't expect us waiting," I replied. Then the threats hit: letters, slashed tires, a brick through Tara's window. We didn't back down. "Subpoenas for all of them," I told Lisa. "Go public." She grinned. Already on it. By Thursday, it was everywhere. HOA RICO case unfolds in Willow Creek. Racketeering charges, organized crime tactic for an HOA. Greg got nabbed at 7 a.m. Linda flipped. James ran but was caught trashing files. Maggie pled guilty in court: trespassing, conspiracy, embezzlement, obstruction. "I was protecting the community," she whined. The judge smirked. By making it your fiefdom? For years, restitution ordered. Not enough, but a start. That night, Willow Creek gathered no HOA, just people. Drinks, stories, kids playing, porch lights glowing. They voted to rebuild the HOA transparent fair. I didn't run. I'd done my part. If you like this, drop a comment. What would you do if Maggie broke into your place? Follow for more HOA chaos.